Hi, I'm Peter Rose, founder of Longwood Currency Trading. Listen, what are you going to do when you lose your job? You notice I didn't say if you lose your job, it's when you lose your job. We're in a new world today. It's 2024. We just happen to be in April right now, but 2024, there are a confluence of events that are occurring in the world where it is highly likely that you will be losing your job, whether that's because of the surgence of AI, whether it's because we're finding out today that that age and job discrimination is beginning around age 40 instead of age 50, which is amazing. The real estate market is in an enormous bubble, and so you're sitting there, you just bought your house, you're carrying a $400,000 mortgage at 6%, you put 5% down, you got $7,000 in tax bills, ski mobiles, and all sleds and all that other kind of crap, and probably $1,000 or $1,500 in car payments. What are you going to do if you lose your job? Today, what would you do if you lost your job? You're gonna dig into your 401k. You know there's a 9% withdrawal penalty for pulling money out of a 401k. The average person right now, at 64 years of age, only has about $125,000 in their savings, let alone 401k, just overall savings. Most of the people in the United States today can't come up with $1,000 if there was an emergency. And if you lose your job and you're holding all this stuff in the air and you lose your job, it all disintegrates. We have to have the proper financial education. Once you have the proper financial education, you won't get into the mess that you're in. But if you're in that mess, which is life itself, and you're dependent on job income, and if you lost that job, you can't say, okay, I'm all set, I was ready to retire anyway, it's just I got to go out a couple of years early. If you can't do that, whether you're 20 years old or 30, you better start worrying about that. The tech industry, which is really big on hiring the hotshot 20 and 30-year-olds doing the tech work or working 60, 70, 80-hour weeks, and they pay them really great money, and then all of a sudden, we're not interested in that project anymore. Away you go. You have lost your $150,000 a year job, but you haven't lost your rent, you haven't lost your mortgage, you haven't lost your car payment, and you haven't had the time to save any money. And the only skill you have is to bang a keyboard. Or the only skill you have is to be a marketing manager for a tech company or a sales manager for some place that is going to implode and they don't need you as a sales manager because you're old and you're taking too many days off because of your health, or you're young and you think you want to work from home all the time. The world is changing and we need to be aware of that. I'm 75 years old. I've seen it implode like this 3 times in the past. I've lost $1 million twice in my life because of economic collapse and change when people weren't ready for that. I made the $1 million back each time, but it took me 10 years each time. Do you have 10 years? If you're 50 years old right now and things are starting to creep up on you and you recognize that the hotshot kids are going to work 70, 80 hours a week and they'll work for $20,000 a year less than what you're making, and they'll be able to do almost as good as you can, but good enough to have them come in and you replaced. That's the fear that you're having. Or you're 25 years old, you haven't had time to build up any skills except skills that during certain periods are not valuable. Quality assurance managers, tech writers, waiters in restaurants that go under. Where is the financial education that shows you that you need multiple paths from the time that you're young in order to build up money? I've said in other videos, I spent 40 years in real estate, and it was through my real estate that I was able to retire. When I was in my early 20s, I stepped back from things. I was fortunate that I came from a upper middle income family that gave me a broad view of the world. And this is where you'd like to get to. You'd like to get to a point where you can go out to dinner whenever you'd like to go out to dinner. You can buy a new car for cash. If you need to finance it, fine, but you could pay it off very quickly from that. You want to get into that position. You want to be in a position where you don't have a mortgage when you get ready to retire. You want to be in a position to travel every now and then. You don't need to necessarily have enough money to go to Paris every 4 weeks to have lunch with some and hobnob with the Parisians. But it's a comfortable life that's safe, and there's money there to provide for you as you go through the rest of your retirement years. Or God forbid that you're in a situation where so many 60 and 70-year-olds right now are still working the counters at Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's because their Social Security is, the average Social Security today is, for that real older generation, probably between $1,300 and $1,500 a month. You can't even get an apartment rent for $1,200 a month where I live. I don't know about where you live. So what are you going to do? This rant is caused because I've had a flutter of emails and been talking to people about mentoring them in currency trading. They have peripheral interest in trading, and they think trading is going to solve their day. Trading isn't going to solve their day. Their interest in trading will solve the day. You're not going to, and I've turned quite a few people down. In fact, that's one of the questions I ask. Are you really interested in the trading process, or are you just looking for a quick way to make money at 500 to 1? You have to ask yourself and be serious about that. I don't fucking need anybody's money to teach them currency trading. I've got my money, but I'm not going to give my skills away. You know, if you want to learn how to replace a $30,000 a year job, do you think you're going to learn how to do that for a $500 fucking course? I don't think so. And yet, nobody seems to want to invest the money necessary because there's a lot of idiot FOREX educators, quote, out there that'll gladly sell you a course for $1,000 that'll teach you what a pip is and how to size your bank and how to use a Bollinger Band. And it's all useless and full of shit. So the time for you folks out there has come. Look at the world around you and the danger that you are in when you lose your job. What are you preparing for today, whether you're 25 years old or whether you're 55 years old? What are you doing right now to build a skill? What are you going to transfer to do? Oh, I'm going to learn auto mechanics and go into the automotive world. Really? You're 50 years old? You're going to be able to put up with that strength? My son was an auto mechanic and got a degree in automotive mechanics. He did that for 10 or 15 years or whatever it was. He goes, I can't take the politics. I look at the older guys that are in his shop, their backs hurt, they got shin splints, they're miserable, they're making plenty of money and they got all the toys in the world, but they're afraid to lose their job because they haven't saved their money. I'm out of here. You really have to sit back and look at the value that you have as a person to that job. Do you think the fact that they pay you $40,000 a year or $30,000 a year to do whatever it is that you do, that's what you're worth? That's not what you're worth. They're making at least 3 to 5 times the money on what they're paying you. Otherwise, there's no point in paying you. If they're not making, if somebody is paying you $40,000 to do a job, you better be generating $120,000, $150,000 worth of income for that business, or you're just not worth being there. Because there's other costs other than the $40,000 that you got to pay you. They got to pay Social Security. They got to match your 401k if you happen to be lucky enough to be in that mess. There's all kinds of stuff, extra costs. They got to provide a desk for you, or they got to provide a secure internet connection with a VPN for you so you can sit on your ass at home and try to do the work at home. You're not worth $40,000 a year. You're worth $100,000 a year. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to have an income stream somewhere that will give you $20,000 a year or $30,000 a year from that income stream? So that if you lost the $40,000 a year job, you'd at least have $20,000 coming in until you could find the next job or build up that account in order to have more money. because you can't just have a system in place that generates that amount of money that you could draw off of and then bastardizes the system that's creating the money. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're trading and you're trading high leverage and you're making $20,000 a year, and all of a sudden you have to pull that money off all the time. You have no more money to put into the account, so you're stagnant. You don't have your financial process in order. That's what I teach. That's what I try to convey to people. How many people listen to me? None. And it's okay, because I don't need your money. You don't want to pay me $3,000 or $4,000 or $8,000 to teach you how to do this shit the right way so you can make $50,000 a year? I don't care. But I'm warning you that you better find somebody out there that can teach you a skill that you can start to build up your wealth reserves so that when you lose your job, you won't be sucking the end of the pipe, that you won't lose your house, that you won't lose everything. I had a friend of mine many years ago. He sold his business, worth a couple of $1 million. He was all set. He went around and made the mistake that so many of my friends made. They went around and bought cheap real estate on crummy deals. They didn't know how to manage tenants and all the rest of the stuff. All of a sudden there was a collapse in the real estate market. His properties dropped below the amount of money that he owed on them. In other words, there's no equity left in the property for the bank. So the bank came to him and said, we need money in order to bring your properties up to the proper loan-to-value ratio that the central banks require us to have as a lending institution. We need $40,000. We need $50,000 from you. I mean, he didn't have it. He didn't have it liquid. And gradually he started to lose his properties, and then all of a sudden, they all disappeared. And he lost his boat. He lost his house. He lost his family. He lost his car. He was stealing chicken out of the local restaurant just so he could eat. Is that where you want to be? There's a solution to that. Find someone that you can trust and pay them whatever money you need to pay them in order to teach you the skills so that you don't live in fear. If you're deluding yourself that you're not going to lose your job and everything is going to be okay, I can't help you and I won't help you because you don't have the right attitude. You're not thinking correctly. If you would like to discuss this with me, I'd be happy to get an email from you at no charge. We can talk back and forth. I'm not going to try to sell you a program because the last thing I want to do is drag some asshole into a paid program of mine and then I got to fight with them the whole time. I don't need your money, and I'm not going to tolerate students that aren't interested in the market so that they have a desire to build up financial, not freedom, let's not be cavalier about it, but to build a financial plan that gives them options. Right now, you don't have an option. I can help you do that. It's not for free. It's a lot of money. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, don't send me an email. If you just like my help in pointing you in some directions or something, or telling me your story so I can comment on it, send me an email, no charge. I'd be happy to talk with you. Because I don't need your money. I'm not afraid of helping you without that. But if you want to get into an organized course, you better be willing to invest your time and money to do that. There's, in all this chaos that we're going through right now in the markets and the turmoil, there's money to be made. If I was younger, I'd be doing a lot of different things as well in order to maximize that end result. I retired a millionaire. Would it be nice to have a little bit more money than that? Sure it would. Do I need it? No. I can't go out to dinner 5 nights a week, every night, and go to the theater and all that stuff. We're talking $200 nights or $250 nights going out to dinner. That's a lot of money. But I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. That's not the lifestyle that you want. You want to work and you want to earn your money and you want to feel good about yourself. Okay, great. Don't trust your job to provide your identity as an earner, because you are going to lose that job at some point. And the older you get, the more you creep up toward that 40-year-old level, the more in jeopardy you are at this particular time that you will face job discrimination, age bias. And if you're in your 50s, you know you're already there. Try putting some resumes out. If you have a job right now, try putting a resume out and see what happens. You're a no-hire, bro. You're a no-hire. If you're 25 years old, 30 years old, yeah, you're getting the jobs. You're getting the jobs. But look at what's happening to the people that you're replacing. That's you in 10 years. You better be ready in 10 years to face that. I can show you how to do that. Be happy to chat with you. But you need to make the effort in sending an email to contact me so I can kind of show you what you need to start thinking about. If you decide that currency trading might be the advantage for that, great, we can talk about that. But I'm not just going to take you as a student because you're going to throw money at me. I'm going to be very careful, because my time is more valuable to me than your money. And you can believe that or not. But I hope that you look at this video and take it in the seriousness and the love in which it's presented to you as someone who's going to look forward in their life, whether you're at the 25-year-old age group or you're at the 50-year-old age group, and ask yourself, if I lose my job today, what kind of situation would I be in? If I lose my job in 3 years, what is my situation going to be if I continue on the path that I'm currently on? And just be aware that you might want to start taking some steps right now to resolve that in a particular way. If you're in that 21 to 34-year-old age group that I've talked to specifically many times in my videos, or you're going to have to deal with it differently if you're in the 50 and above age group, because you don't have the time that the 25-year-old does. And that means I have to work harder and faster with you and be more demanding of you because you lack the time to implement the skills. The 25-year-old probably won't implement the skills that I teach, but there's time for them to make mistakes and fool around, and then they'll get to 30 and they'll go, oh, maybe I should do something. At 30, it's still relatively easy to make this stuff work. Investing. And I did real estate for 40 years. Trust me, that's not what you want to do. If you're thinking about doing that, send me an email. I'll tell you why. You don't want to be a stock investor. Why? If you ask that, you don't know enough about the stock market to understand what the problems are. You want to go into commodities or futures. There are issues with those markets. If you go to my website, longwoodcurrencytrading.com, and look at the currency trading page, there are 7 reasons that I list there. This is 7. 7 reasons that I list there why I think the currency market is the premier investing vehicle that we have available to us, where if we use valid and correct risk management and money management principles based on sound educational principles, not hyping in 500 to 1, watch me drive my Lambo shit that you see so much of, that you can take smaller amounts of money and gradually grow them over time, or you can take a large amount of money and make it larger and larger over time. But time is what's at issue here. Where are you in your journey? Let's talk about that. Maybe we can figure out a path for you to go on. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.